Moreau, in your Canada questionnaire that you prepared, you highlight your 2019 Omar Khadr judgment in your skills assessment section. You stated, quote, "I chose this judgment to illustrate how I took a creative approach that was nonetheless grounded in the principles governing sentencing," unquote. Omar Khadr, of course, had been convicted of murdering a U.S. medic, and in your 2019 judgment, you ordered that Omar Khadr's remaining conditional supervision period of 3.5 years be reduced to 1 day. Justice Moreau, media reports about your considerable legal and judicial career at the trial level reference your experience in criminal law jurisprudence and state that you had presided over many murder cases. And yet with all of this for background, in the entirety of the Supreme Court questionnaire that you prepared and the part that we were provided, including in the section, "Who is the audience for Supreme Court of Canada decisions?" I was a little bit surprised that you didn't include any reference to victims of crime. Why not? And how do you view victims in that context as part of the audience for Supreme Court decisions?
Well, I would think that somewhere in that questionnaire we would be speaking of victims, but I'll take your comment because it was 29 pages, and I won't check. The work that I've done through our court dealing with comforting victims within the courtrooms, I think speaks for itself, that record. When I speak of a creative sentence, I cannot comment on my decision in Khadr. I wanted to give an example of a decision that was made when I was the Chief Justice because we were very, very preoccupied with COVID during that time. And I was not as active in the courtroom. For example, could not afford to get involved in a 3-week murder case as a Chief Justice. So it was an example of a recent case. Creative in only in the sense that the sentence, that the 3.5 years that was then converted to a 1-day sentence was because there was as I noted in the questionnaire, 3.5 years on very strict bail conditions that in essence replicated the terms of a conditional sentence. So to that extent, I think I can't comment any further, though.
Thank you. Justice Moreau, all of my ancestors were Ukrainian. And of course, that's a very common circumstance in your home city of Edmonton, or Edmundchuk, as some joke. And I noted in your Supreme Court questionnaire that over the last several years, you've had considerable involvement in training judges in Ukraine. As one of 1.4 million Ukrainian Canadians, I thank you for that important work. And I would like you to tell us a bit more about that work with Ukraine.
Right. Well, certainly it was about a 4-year project, and obviously we're not there now. And it's great with great disappointment that we are not there. But we focused on shoring up confidence in the judiciary, again, in much the same way I described in other countries, and that is that a sound set of ethical principles is something of great assistance to judges. In some countries, they form part of a law. I've been working in Mongolia, and it's in fact in the law of Mongolia, the whole set of ethical principles and guidelines. Whereas in Canada, it's a set of principles. It's what is people want to achieve as opposed to a minimum standard, what people want judges to achieve. But there were 2 main issues that I was involved in, and the first was communicating to the public so that you can actually create a pathway. A lot of times through the media, and we met with media personnel. We wanted to try to demystify and render transparent court proceedings there. That is a bit of an issue in many of these countries. They don't have any gallery space, not for reporters, not for members of the public or families. And so, you indicate the importance of that. We had them over here a couple of times in Canada to look at our courtrooms, watch court proceedings. So communications is really important, but also obviously the issue from a public perspective is one of trusting their judiciary. And so the only way you can do that is to have a sound system in place, a framework that the judges work within. You can't just do it one case at a time. You need to build that framework, and we helped them do that when I was there.